happening for him.
What?
Never mind, I didn't say that.
What's happening for him? Yo, that's Ray William Johnson, isn't it?
Yep. The good old days. Well, the good old YouTube
why do I feel like
days.
he said something else after that? There's always something you would always say. Maybe something to do with fake and gay.
This is a show specifically against the deep state propaganda. That's what he would say afterwards.
Ah, yes. Welcome back to the UnSuperDuper.
What if you would just say something incredibly awful every time, like, after, like, what's happening for him?
I mean,
just something terrible,
we're just...
would go, like, what's happening for him? Women don't deserve rights.
We're trying to get the podcast. we're trying to get the podcast sponsored, I mean.
But I feel like this is
no better way.
Discussion, it's just like Ray William Johnson says terrible things after every episode introduction.
What did he do? It's been fucking years. How am I supposed to remember this?
I'm not saying that's what he did. I'm just saying imagine if that's what he did. You
know? I thought, well, I don't know. I do remember he was pretty PC, or like he was pretty edgy, I guess, for the time.
That was a product of the time, No,
exactly.
I don't feel like that was specifically his platform. I feel like everybody on YouTube was that way.
Yeah. No, YouTube was definitely like the bad boy of entertainment when it first started.
Oh yeah, it was a very different place. I mean,
like compared to, it's crazy when you think about like how back in the day YouTube was like, I guess, worse than MTV, and I feel like now they're kind of on the same. I don't know actually what you would say. I feel like some things on MTV back in the day were worse than stuff that comes on. Like, was Jackass worse than like Logan Paul?
I don't
I'm
know,
pretty
because
sure.
I feel like even the Jackass guys would do their shit in like good faith. From what I remember, mostly, I don't really remember them doing anything in like bad tastes. And that's why people
and I feel like when they would do really bad things, it would mainly be to like their friends.
Yeah,
like they weren't doing it to like.
It was like self-deprecating.
Yeah, it wasn't like random people on the streets of Japan.
Yeah, it wasn't
getting harassed.
It wasn't recording a dead guy in the forest in Japan.
Oh God! Oh no! Why'd you have to? Are we just reminiscing today? Is that what's happening? I thought we were getting to the Pokecast.
Well, I need to start this off in a good mood before I go on a absolute tirade of just like people are gonna think I'm pretty tyrannical after this podcast. They're gonna see me as an oppressor, a discriminator, a dictator.
It's very
all
true.
Kinds of things.
All right. I mean, yeah, we can get on a lighter note first, because today, if you can tell, I don't know what the title will be yet, but we're gonna have a little discussion, and I am obviously pro Pokemon for life, but Mr. Gabe has a bit of a different opinion on how things have developed over in the Pokemon world. So we're going to get into that eventually.
By standard, I'm kind of like, I don't give a shit about Pokemon kind of guy, but there is the child in me that used to love Pokemon that still remembers and sometimes feels slighted, even though I'm not that I'm not that into Pokemon as I used to be as a kid, but we'll get into that. It's just, I don't know what happened this week where I actually started, I don't know, consuming some media that started talking about, maybe it's because of the current climate right now and what has been happening, that people have been talking about like back in the day and how things used to be on YouTube. And
what did you see specifically? I feel like people always kind of, every month there's like something that brings it up. Like it was Shane Dawson a while ago.
Yeah, Shane Dawson's a big one. Then you had like Onisions and shit. Remember Onision?
Dude, yeah. No, I feel like Onision ends up trending like at least once a year. He does something stupid to stay not even relevant. I don't know. I feel like there's always that saying that no publicity is bad, but like no, when it comes to Onision, it's definitely bad, dude.
That's 100% bad. I just feel like this is gonna be a pretty cold take, because I feel like nowadays most people can agree with this. I always felt, and this is gonna be me tooting my horn a little bit, that those YouTubers of back in the day didn't have all that much substance to them. Oh no, what's gonna happen to me now that I said it? Even as a kid back in the day.
Wait, why'd you say cold take first of all? Isn't it a hot take?
No, because I don't think it's very spicy to say that kind of shit.
Oh, like, okay, yeah, I guess I get what you're saying.
So that's why I say it's a cold take, because I don't think I'm gonna.
So then why are you worried about people coming after you?
No, because I mean, this take does sound I can admit, somewhat conceited to be like, I was ahead of the curve. You know, it wasn't that. It's just something in me as a kid would see that brand of YouTuber, you know, the Shane Dawsons, the what were the other people like them? The Tyler Oakleys and you know, those kind of people. They didn't hold any inherent value to me. I would see them on YouTube and I'm just like, these people suck. Like, there was always something about them where I was just like, they rubbed me the wrong way. Like, I always felt like they were very... I think this comes in the nature of being any kind of, like, creator type. You know, we tend to run the risk of being very conceited and self-absorbed and self-important. Like, I feel like creative types more than anybody have to check themselves for narcissism and, like, being...
And everybody else is trash. I'm the greatest.
No. Everybody else sucks. If you're not a creative type, you're a fucking 9-to-5... what do they call those? Tax slaves? No. I know there's
I've been hearing the term Andy a lot recently. Like, I'm just a 9-to-5 Andy.
Yeah,
or like, even like, for streamers or like gamers.
Like, one of the most, like, that's the easiest way to call yourself out as a fucking, like, a shit. You're a shit if you're, like, a person who touts that shit. You know, those are, like, what people like Logan Paul think and Jacob Sartorius think, you know? It's just like, you're just a fucking...
Bro, I haven't heard that name in a minute either. Fucking Jacob Sartorius. Isn't that, like, the little kid that, like, raps?
He's 18 now. He's...
Okay, whatever. That's what.
And all he does is smoke weed and talk shit.
Oh no. Well, I mean, that's pretty much every 18-year-old these days.
Pretty much, yeah. Everybody has to go through.
Is that a hot take?
But you know, even when I was younger and those YouTubers, I never understood the appeal of these blogger YouTubers that were just people just spouting what they think and like hyping themselves up in front of the camera, because that's all they did.
That's still like the big. Well, maybe not as much now, but like for the last couple of years back, like that was still the biggest appeal with like Rice Gum and like the Paulers. You know, literally all they would do is just talk, and then it wasn't until like Dobrik rose up.
Brag on camera. That's all it was. It was just like
it's just flex vlogs.
Exactly, and I never got into that. Like even back in the day, the YouTubers I would watch. I'm gonna brace myself to get canceled. I will watch shit like Tobuscus, and I would.
Oh no, I liked Toby back in the day too.
Every kid liked fucking Toby back in the day because that's when we didn't realize.
Epic fail. What was the one show? Win,
fail,
cute, win, fail, dude. Yeah,
and his like video game like lyric videos. Those were funny. Sometimes.
Oh yeah,
not all the time.
Sometimes. Like epic rap battles, I thought. They were freaking hilarious when I was young, but I don't think they are anymore.
I always thought they were cringe. I don't know what it was. I thought it was just a bunch of white people rapping, and I was just like
I mean, yeah, I guess in essence, it can be... It sounds pretty cringy, like, hey, we're gonna make historic figures rap battle each other, and it's white guys doing it. But, like... there was some cleverness to it, which I always appreciated.
That's what I say. Even though there's like stuff that I find cringe, I value the inherent creativity that goes into things, even if they are a little cringe. Because it's not like they were cringe in a bad way. It's not like it was a bad natured cringe. It was just kind of like, oh, this is kind of goofy. Like I can't. You can
appreciate the effort put into it, you know, like versus something like I don't know what. I don't even remember Shane Dawson that well, so I was gonna say Shane.
He did like this weird show that was just like Dawson's Creek, where it was just like him playing the characters, like all the characters.
So basically, really Shane Dawson was TikTok before,
and then he made that awful movie.
Oh God! Well, yeah, that was later down the line. None of his movies I've really liked.
They were terribly racist.
Yeah.
Oh God! But
can't say that about Niga Higa though. That man is a treasure. And
what has happened to him? I feel like he was really popular. Then he like stopped doing stuff. Then he came back again for a while, and now he stopped again.
I think he's just like realized like the YouTube landscape has changed too much, so he's just streaming now, like everybody else.
Oh, okay. I see. I didn't even know he was streaming.
Yeah, I saw him recently. He's doing pretty well on Twitch. Like, I mean, obviously he's still got millions of people around the world know his name, you know, so good. That alone.
It's good for him.
Like, I feel if you randomly stumbled upon him on Twitch, you'd be like, oh shit, I remember Niga Higa, you know, like, and you'd watch it probably, even if it's for like 5 minutes. So, And that's all you really need for a streamer.
Well, yeah, that's what I would watch back in the day. I would watch like Nigahiga. I would watch like TFS. The abridged series.
Oh, yeah,
I
dude.
was always into more like the creative kind of content. I was never into this like blogger thing. I wasn't really interested in any of these people's personal lives per se.
Yeah.
It was more of just like, so like seeing that the landscape has shifted to where that's a little bit more prominent now. I think it's overall better than what YouTube used to be. Some people will talk about like, oh, it was more unfiltered and was kind of like a Wild West. And there was some aspects of that were good and did enable flexibility, but it also enabled a lot of these really fucking shit people to be in the spotlight.
It enabled a lot of ignorance.
Yes, a lot
and
of
downright bigotry
vitriol.
at times too.
And a whole bunch of vitriol. YouTube used to be a way more toxic place. And even though I feel like sometimes the guidelines go a little bit out of hand nowadays, but I feel like that could be more easily fixed than going back to what YouTube was, which was just awful.
Yeah, I feel like it really changed around when Dobrik came around. And I'm not a huge fan of that type of content either, but honestly, I like that he kind of blew up, because before that was when all the like Rice Gum and Polar type of content was thriving. And I feel like he kind of forced them all to up their game. Because, like, he was doing, like, snappy, like, quick edits, like, almost like Jackass for YouTube style stuff. Like, they all, like, that's what's popular now, I feel. Even though Dobrik himself doesn't even do it, because, well, I guess a lot of people don't because of COVID, but I feel like for a while, at least, that became, like, the thing. Like, everybody's trying to be the vlog squad now.
I don't mesh with that shit.
No, I don't really watch it either. I feel like it's not bad content, or at least it has some type of like work put into it. Like I can see the effort there.
I just don't see the sustainability in it. You know what I mean? I see it kind of like, people are interested in you right now because you're the biggest thing, but like at some point people aren't gonna fucking care anymore. And then what are you gonna do? If you didn't like put your cards into anything else creatively that has a little bit more longevity in it, I feel like you're gonna end up just like those people, like the Shane Dawsons and the Tyler Oakleys, who become irrelevant because all they were known for was, I don't know, talking a lot of shit. And then when people stopped caring what they had to say, what are they now?
Yeah. Well, I agree on the people that are doing just that content, but I feel like for someone like, I guess just specifically Dobrik, and then there's like Mr. Beast, who's done. Yeah. Mr. Beast is like honest, like he's probably the best YouTuber we have right now. I would definitely. I don't know. So. I can't think of anyone. If he gave me
some of that money, then I would agree. But
I mean, not just numbers wise, but like his grind. Like he's been out here for years now.
He works hard,
and he's someone you could argue that it's like, what does he do other than like give away money? Like I don't know, but that's what celebrities are known for, and they're definitely somehow staying relevant. Like, what would you say someone like the Kardashians are even famous for? Hey man, they do makeup and like.
Shut the fuck up. I don't know, dude. It's just, it's kind of. I look at that part of life, that like time period for some reason, and I've always wondered, this is what every person of that age like eventually thinks, where I kind of see that period in time as this very surreal, like I'm not even sure if it really happened kind of time period in my life, because like everything in that time period never meshed with me. Like music at that time didn't mesh with me, video games at that time didn't mesh with me, online content didn't mesh with me. Like I always reminisce on that time, and when I think back, I just think back of just like, oh, this felt kind of like the testing period of trend setting, where everyone was just throwing shit at the wall to see what stuck. You know what I mean? I don't know if you agree with that, because it was like, it was like Gundam Style, and then it was like radio friendly indie pop and Flow Rider, and then like on YouTube it was like Shane Dawson and Tyler Oakley and those kinds of people. And then in video games, I remember fondly that point in time is like where video games were coming out rapidly, and a lot of them were shit. Like shit like...
Yeah, that was like the PS3 360 era, right?
Yeah.
Like
there was like things
like it wasn't...
that one Gears ripoff, what was it called? Like Bullet something? And, things like Aliens Colonial
I faintly remember
Marines.
what you're talking about. Wasn't there also like Dead Island? It was like a freaking Left 4 Dead like ripoff. Yeah,
it felt like it was this time period where everything in media was just like trying to. It felt like a lot of things were dying, and media was desperately trying to figure out what's going to be the next big thing, and nothing was sticking. And then everything felt weird and out of place, and nothing really remarkable came out to me. I also marked that as a period where Halo started dropping off in popularity too. You know,
maybe that's why you felt like everything was dying, because Halo was dying, and that's what you cared about.
I just felt like it was weird. It was kind of like a lot of things were like, it felt strange.
No, I agree to an extent. I just feel like that's still going on to this day. Like, I don't think there's a sound that defines pop music anymore. You know, yeah, there's people chasing like rap or like hip hop style just because they see that that's like what's popular now with the kids. It's the same with video games. Like things like Amogus just randomly popped off, and it's like everybody's suddenly hopping on it, you know?
But see, that's what I mean. I feel like nowadays things have kind of like gotten into this catalyst where like things now more consistently like pop off and get into being trendy. I feel like pop music right now is better than pop music when we were teenagers. Like the only one I could really say that I guess I liked back in the day was like Lady Gaga. But even nowadays, you know, you got shit like Dua Lipa, who's great. And you got shit like...
Yeah, there's like 5 Lady Gagas, basically.
You know, back in the day, you had Kesha, and, you know, obviously that's a tragic case and all that stuff. But, you know, aside from all that stuff, I didn't like that music. And I didn't like any kind of pop music that was coming out. I didn't like Flo Rida. I didn't like... What was the other
You didn't like the Black Eyed Peas?
I feel like that was the worst time period of Black Eyed Peas, dude. I fucking hated Black Eyed Peas at that time period because I used to love their old shit. Well, now you got stuff that's like, you know, Dua Lipa fucking does, you know, I'm not super into pop, but I listen to her songs and I'm just like, this is really high quality. She puts a lot of, like, genuine heart into this, and it sounds good, even if I'm not into pop. And then you got shit like, you know, Doja Cat, who's fucking great. And, you know... I don't know. I just feel like things are kind of like... I feel like nowadays things have really found their place in their genre. And now the focus is more on like redefining things and trying to be more out there and expressive and experimental. Rather where I feel like back in the day it was more of just like nobody knew what the fuck they were doing. And nobody knew what people really wanted or what was popular or what the kids liked, you know?
So do you think Doja Cat knew that her putting on a cow outfit and saying, bitch, I'm a cow,
yes,
was going to blow up?
Yes. I'm 100% certain she knew exactly what she was doing.
I think she knew it might be popular, but I don't think she expected it to go that viral. That's the thing.
Now that you bring that up, you want to know why I think I know that's happening right now, why things are a little bit more consistent? Because those kids from that time period are the ones making this shit now. And they went through that, and they understand what people like, and that's why things nowadays I feel like have a little bit more of an identity to them, because it's, you know, it's the people who were kids back then who had to consume all of this stuff, and they were saying, what the hell is this stuff? This isn't what I like. Are now the ones actually making the things that are quote-unquote relevant to our interests. Or
wait, aren't we those kids?
Yes. We're just
okay, yeah, because when you say it like that, it makes it sound like you're talking to like about the Zoomers more specifically.
No, I'm
but
talking
like
about us.
It's literally us. We were the kids when fucking Black Eyed Peas was saying I'm a bee.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. Like, Doja Cat was one of those kids, you know.
Yeah, Doja Cat's definitely
making things, and Dua Lipa was one of those kids. I watched her Hot Ones interview, and I heard her talking about how she would go to all these kinds of concerts to musicians even I was into, and going to like 50 Cent concerts and talking about that, pretty much that same thing. You know, it's kind of surreal how, you know, I was the kid in the stands listening to all this shit, and now here I am playing in that same venue. It almost doesn't feel real. But that goes towards the argument of just like, I feel like the reason that things feel a little bit more consistent, or that they found their niche and their sound, because I feel like that's a little bit more valued nowadays than it was back in our time. Back in our time, the actual consumerism of it was what was more valued. The money, how much money it was going to make.
And well, I think a lot of it has to do with like, shit is just more accessible. Like, I mean, I'm gonna toot my own horn a little bit, but like, I was that kid at one point watching Smosh thinking like, man, I want to be those guys one day. And maybe, like, originally I did actually do those types of videos, too. Like, I was doing little skits and shit. And, even though I didn't end up blowing up for that, like I still was able to do what I dreamed of, at least as a kid. Like I saw that, I'm like, I want to be big on YouTube, you know?
Yeah.
I think it's just like, it's even for artists, like for musicians, even though it seems a lot harder because it's like a big ass industry that's been established for years, because of the internet, like we can actually do it.
Exactly.
You know, anybody can randomly blow up.
And that's why I feel like things are a little bit more better now, because back in the day, you know, like I was saying, it was all about how much money is this going to make. And I feel exactly because people are able to see more things and express themselves more towards a public audience, I feel people nowadays value more the inherent creativity behind these products and, you know, a genuine sense going into it. And I feel like that's why things nowadays have a little bit more of integrity to them. But I might just be talking shit. I might be the only one who
well,
thinks
I think
way.
Also, like, it might have to do with the companies themselves. Like, they still might not know exactly what the hell is going to blow up, you know? So they're willing to take more risks on, like, newer talents, or, like, they see someone go viral and they're like, all right, we're going all in on this person. Kind of like, I had a good example for that, but, like, one that worked out. Like, Doja's a good example. I don't know how her, like, label and all that really went, like her history, but I know that she basically did blow up off like that meme and then just skyrocketed it all the way. Same with Joji, actually. Like Joji was already big as Filthy Frank,
but
like,
example. I can't believe I forgot to mention Joji. That's a fantastic example.
Dude, even I don't know, I like to think even like someone like Post Malone, the dude was like making Minecraft videos with Sky Does Minecraft. Did you know about that?
Yep.
Yeah, it's like, and he was doing like memes also, making music memes like since high school. So I just feel like there is an innate talent.
Yep.
That just like you have to find the right way to channel it, I guess. And I don't know, there's still obviously some luck to it.
Yeah. And that's why
especially
Quip Save
now
is coming out with our first label, our first album.
We're skipping the music scene. We're just gonna start a YouTube network in 2021. That's when true. Networks are now irrelevant. Oh no, now it's all about the talent agencies. All right, yeah, we gotta hit up Nord, gotta hit up Raid Shadow Legends. You know.
Yes, we gotta hit up Mojang to get a nice little Minecraft sponsorship in
Watch
there.
Mojo.
Watch Mojo. Yes.
Yo, what happened to Watch Mojo? Actually, are they still around?
I hope not.
Did you know I was actually featured in a Watch Mojo video?
You're a liar.
I don't know if I ever showed you that. I feel like I would have showed you, but maybe we weren't really talking then.
No,
you were off in college.
I think you're fucking lying. I think this is an.
No, I'm serious. I'm fucking serious. I'm gonna show you right now. Dude,
but it's funny that you mentioned that because like one of like my old videos, like trolling Cone era videos, was actually featured on H3H3.
Really?
Yeah. It was the one it was the one where I was lying to your face.
Oh.
This isn't real. This is fake.
This this perfectly segues into our next topic because the video that I'm featured on is called Top 10 Pokemon YouTube channels. Who the hell did you pay for this? You gotta listen to what the guy says too.
I can't. The way they're talking about you is so.
That's what I mean. The guy is like, although his moniker may be weird, this citrus channel is like, what?
This is so surreal, dude. This isn't real. I'm having a fever
That's
dream.
Dude, the Watch Mojo voice said my name.
How did you never talk to me about this, bro? If this happened to me, I'd never let anyone live it down.
I've mentioned it before, but maybe not to you specifically, or like maybe it just flew in one ear and out the other.
That's
you know?
So yeah, I didn't give a shit. You were just like, hey, dude, this really cool thing happened to me, Watch Mojo, and I was hearing you like a Charlie Brown cartoon. I was too busy thinking about Snuffy or something.
No, I think you're just like, shit, why wasn't I on Watch Mojo?
Why wasn't I on Watch Mojo? God, why wasn't I on top 15 most fucked up things to happen to a man?
Why wasn't I on Burger King foot lettuce?
Number 15. This one asshole named Gabriel Rivera.
Number 15.
Number 15.
G Scratcher.
Puerto Ricans. I don't know if they're real, but if they're real, that's really scary.
Although you might think they all look like Daddy Yankee or Bad Bunny, it's actually a misconception that Puerto Ricans can also look like...
Puerto Ricans are actually manifested out of the primordial soup in an archipelago. Unnatural creatures from the void. I would lose it if he did video. I wouldn't even get mad. That'd be funny.
Dude, there's gotta be a troll top 10 channel out there like that. Like where they make top 10s, but they're all just like the most incoherent, babbling,
Number 15, Puerto Ricans. I don't know if you know, but they were colonized, and one day they will have their revenge.
Oh, God. It could be like top 10 RPGs, and you just fucking actually put good RPGs, but then just talk shit about them.
Just put different models of rocket-propelled grenades.
True. That's big brain right there.
Yeah, I'm ahead of the curve. I should start this channel. Well, now that we're on the topic of Mojang and their... No, wait, not Mojang. Watch Mojo.
You mean top 10 RPGs and the number one RPG being Pokemon,
well,
baby!
I was going to say, since they were talking about top 10 Pokemon YouTubers, I mean, we might as well hear world-famous... featured on Watch Mojo Pokemon YouTuber's opinion, MunchingOrange, on the recent announcements from Pokemon.
Okay, so before that, earlier you were saying how during that period, was when Halo started dropping.
Yes.
And I totally projected and said how, maybe because of Halo flopping, it felt like everything else around you was flopping too.
Yeah, but that was Pokemon.
Yep, it's about Pokemon. No, I mean, I think it's gotten stale for sure, but I don't think flopping or crashing and burning are at all the right way to describe it. And I know that this argument, a lot of people make it doesn't really matter because it's the freaking Sword and Shield game still made more money than any Pokemon game before it. So there's something going right there. Even if the games aren't, I guess, what they used to be like.
It's called an addiction.
I don't know. That's the thing. I don't know who's... is it new generation mainly buying it? Is it all the old Poke fans trying to hoard bastards.
Them? It's all of I think it's just... Fucks.
It's been accumulating, but, these numbers are freaking crazy compared to, X and Y. You remember when X and Y came out, right? I think even you were hyped for that.
Yeah, but that's exactly what I'm saying. It was all of us old heads, you old heads, because I'm going to give you a prime example. None of my little cousins, none of them play Pokemon.
Do they have a Switch, though?
They play Animal Crossing. They play every other thing. None of them give a shit about Pokemon.
That's interesting, because my little cousins literally don't understand Animal Crossing. I try to get them into it. They don't get it. But they love Pokemon, so...
Well, they're your little cousins.
That's true. And they do know, so...
That's cheating.
I don't know. I wonder if they would be into... I mean, that's the thing. They're into other games. They love Fortnite, but so does every other kid on the planet. So, I don't know. I feel like it's just maybe a preference. Do your little cousins watch the show? Do you know?
Pokemon is not a choice, okay? Don't make that kind of thing about preference here, you bigot.
Well, I feel like the anime or the cartoon
none of my
makes
kids,
a big
none of my
influence.
Kids, none of my children watch any Pokemon shit. No, none of the kids in my family really. I don't know. They don't pay attention to Pokemon. And I can't say I've seen many kids who do, but that's just my example. Every time I hear about Pokemon, it's from people our age or a little older, the people who grew up with it. I don't know.
Yeah, it's weird. Well, okay, so let me give you the numbers.
Yes.
All right. Pokemon X and Y, second best-selling game on 3DS, 16.5 million copies. Sword and Shield, fifth selling best on Switch, 20.3 million. So, I mean, that alone, the Switch itself is a lot more popular, so that alone could be a big reason why these games sold more.
That could be, yes.
Anyway, that's not an excuse for like the games not being as good anymore. I'm just stating the numbers here because I don't like that people say that Pokemon is like flopping or crashing and burning when like it's still financially at least doing better than ever.
Pokemon as an IP is not crashing and burning.
It's the games, specifically.
That specifically are kind of like not hitting the mark like they used to, I guess. But I feel like that's less when it comes to money and more just like actual appeal, I guess. I'm gonna let you go off. I'm gonna let your beat go off. I'll state my thoughts and my opinions after. I'm gonna let you.
Yeah, I got my whole PowerPoint here. Okay, yes. I'm slowly building up to it.
Yes.
So again, X and Y, you can agree. Even you were hyped for because it was the first time that the series was like moving into 3D, and at least to me, I felt that it actually looked pretty good because it was like the sprites, but you know, in 3D, like they were still a little chibi.
Were they?
Style.
Well, they weren't as chibi. Or maybe I'm just remembering wrong. I don't know.
Here, let me just. I'll send you a screenshot
They aren't as chibi
reminisce.
as the ones from Diamond and Pearl. That's for sure.
Oh no, yeah, it's not, and that's where I'm going with it right now. So, people didn't dislike that though. Is my point. When X and Y came out, they didn't dislike the chibi style or whatever. Why can't I send this image? Copy image address, right? I just want you to have this mental image of what X and Y used to look like versus, oh my god, all right, whatever, I can't send it. Just look up X and Y and you'll see it. So yeah, when they went into Sun and Moon, I guess like because they were already in 3D, they tried to continuously keep upgrading, and they went to like a full, like the models that would appear in battle became like the standard, like in everything, in the overworld, in the battles, and in everything. Like it was just a regular anime looking character.
Yes.
And then Sword and Shield had that same style, but HD. And now we get to Diamond and Pearl remakes, and we're going back to chibi, but even smaller than ever before, which has got people going crazy.
Going nuts and going monkeys.
I don't know if I get it. Like, I was really confused at first too, but like my initial reaction was literally, this is weird. I don't know if I like it, but I think it'll grow on me. Like, I think I can get used to it.
Yeah, you're a shill.
You know? Well, aside from that, I mean, I don't know. Okay, maybe I should start with like what I have, the issues I have, because it's not, my issue's not with the art style,
well, okay,
basically.
Okay. Do you have more bad things to say or good things to say?
What's happening?
Did I stump you there?
Clinic's on the phone.
Huh?
The clinic's on the phone.
Oh. Okay, hold on.
Oh no, what'd you do now?
Sorry.
Did they find out about the experiments?
Yeah,
Oh.
it's the IRS.
Not again. I thought
okay,
we got them off our trail. I don't know how they keep figuring out what we've been up to.
What were we talking about?
You were
oh,
talking.
You said,
like,
do I have more issues or not?
Or do you have more good things to say about it?
I don't know if I have bad things to say necessarily, but I am like, I guess worried that it's not a remake as much as it is a remaster. And maybe for people that don't know exactly how I define those, because different people say different stuff, but from what I understand, a remake is like when you take an old game and improve upon it.
Yeah.
Make it more up to the standards of the current generation.
Yeah, we mentioned this on the Mario playthrough.
Yeah, like Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, which I don't know if you played those, but they were really good in terms of being a remake.
Yeah.
Like, they brought back the Hoenn region, but they also added the new stuff, like the Mega Evolutions, even features that we didn't expect at all that were completely new, like flying around on Latios and stuff. That was really cool.
That was great.
Yeah. So that's a remake. A remaster would be something like the Link's Awakening or...
The Sword and Shield. No, not the Sword and Shield, sorry. The Skyward Sword. Which is not even
see, that's
that
the thing.
much
I
of
was about to say
remaster.
Skyward Sword, because I feel like Skyward Sword's more like a port, if anything.
Yeah.
So there's a third term. A port is just when you take an old game, exactly how it is, and just make the graphics upscale them, you know, to HD or whatever.
Yeah.
So a remake would be something like, I don't know if you ever played the Link's Awakening HD or
remake,
saw it.
I mean, hey, the Spyro ones and the Crash Bandicoot
Or
ones.
remaster, I mean,
Those,
not remake,
like
right?
the Spyro and Crash Bandicoot ones are good examples.
Yeah. Those are... I mean, yeah, what category would those fall under? I guess
those are
remaster.
remasters, yeah, because the games are the same. They just up the graphics, you know.
Yeah, definitely. That and, yeah, like I said, the Link's Awakening thing, which I bring up because that's exactly what the new Pokemon games look like.
Yep.
Except worse. So yeah, my point with that being that if the games are just a remaster, as in it's still the exact same as Diamond and Pearl, but with new graphics, then I feel like it's not... It doesn't warrant doing a full new $60 release.
There we go. Yeah.
And I would rather at that point that they just port the original Diamond and Pearl or Platinum. Actually, definitely Platinum, because Platinum was better in every way. I would rather just have Platinum playable on the Switch, you know, like a virtual console release.
Yeah.
Like, I don't mind the chibis. Again, my issue's not with the graphics. It's mainly the fact that the game is just a one-for-one remaster, exactly as it used to be. Although, maybe I'm getting a little too specific now, but there's people that have brought up, like, screenshots of NPCs in the new trailer that aren't there in Diamond and Pearl, but they are in Platinum. So they are adding a couple of features, it looks like, from Platinum. So it's not, like, directly one-to-one. The region is one-to-one remade, but they're gonna add in, like, some stuff from the later games.
Ooh.
Like, we also see Porygon Z in the trailer, and apparently, I didn't know this, because, well, I'll talk about this later, but yeah, Porygon Z was in Platinum, not Diamond and Pearl, apparently.
Okay.
So there's some stuff from Platinum in it, which means that we might get the Battle Frontier, we might get, you know, Giratina's story, which would be cool, the Distortion World and all that, but I'm not holding my breath. I think that because it's made by a completely new company that has only previously done support work, that they're probably just taking the easiest approach and they're playing it safe, you know, just like... I mean, I don't know what Game Freak told them exactly. I don't know how much creative freedom they have,
Just
you know?
get freaky with it, guys.
If they had said that, I could see why they went with the chibis, but... Maybe that's the thing. Maybe they said get freaky with it, and they just heard get chibi with it.
Oh,
Who knows?
Well...
So yeah, that's, I guess, my thoughts. I don't know if that's more good than bad, but, like, my main gripe is that, at that point, I would just, like, I still think Platinum looks fine. Like, I don't mind playing the old games, but maybe kids growing up now, like, I've actually seen a lot of people watching my, ROM hack playthroughs, and they say the reason they don't watch my playthroughs as much anymore is because they don't like the graphics. I'm not kidding. That's, like, a real thing. Like, a lot of newer or younger viewers or Pokemon fans are now used to the 3D, and they can't go back and play the 2D.
That's strange.
Because it just looks boring, I guess, to them, especially the battle scenes, you know? With it just being like a stationary picture. Even though I feel like the models are worse to me. I don't know.
I just feel like it's not that much of a difference. Besides it just being 3D. I mean, they still just stand there.
Yeah, the experience is the exact same.
Yeah.
And, like, my argument is that, at least in black and white, the sprites were, like, animated. And one really cool thing, actually, that I liked about the older era is, I'm sure you remember, like, between, like, Ruby and Sapphire and Emerald, like, the sprite was different in each one.
Yeah.
So, like, it felt like the Pokemon had almost like a different personality in each game. Or, like, a different, you know, you got to see different sides of their personality, you could say. Whereas now, it's just, like, Snorlax is just standing there, fucking breathing, mouth breathing, you know?
Just snoring all lax.
Yeah.
Well, I mean... What about Legends?
So, oh my God! I thought you were gonna go into what you thought first.
No, I'm letting you get your thoughts on both games out there because I'm warning you.
You're
bro.
livid. You're
I'm
boiling.
warning.
You're
I'm
slowly
not
boiling up,
boiling.
aren't you?
I'm not boiling. I just have a lot to say about it. And you know me, when I go off, I just go. So I'm letting you get
Okay, this is
everything out
good.
there.
This is good. It's kind of like a debate, but not really. Well, this is the start of the debate. We're both giving our sides, and I like this
We'll
because
strangle
we
each other
have.
afterwards.
I feel like we have very opposing sides, so I'm excited to hear what you gotta say.
All right.
Anyway, Legends, it's just like right now I feel like we don't have enough to make too many assumptions, although that's like what Pokemon fans love, is assuming or like predicting things.
Yes.
So I've already made a whole bunch of assumptions myself.
I have watched your
but
videos.
I like what they're going for, even though it is pretty much down to the trailer in that one scene, just straight up Breath of the Wild, but Pokemon. But I've always wanted at least a game where it feels more open, where it's not just like go down this path and beat the 8 gyms. And because it's a spin-off, it doesn't really hurt the core series. And going back to how they have a new company handling the remakes, it gives Game Freak actually what they've been needing, I feel like, for the last couple of years, which is
A break.
more time and more like... Yeah, well, they're not getting a break, dude. Let's be real.
That's true.
Like, it's hustle time. It's Pokemon
They're not
time.
getting any hookers and blow in the office. Not this time around.
Unless you're like Masuda or Omori, then like, you've earned it. But like anybody else, just lower, just basic employee, nah. I don't know. I think it looks like maybe I don't know how to phrase this. I guess it's like a step towards a better Gen 9. But as of right now, it doesn't look like there's enough in it. And it could be because it's an early trailer, but like the town was completely empty. A lot of the scenes were completely empty. There was like maybe like one Pokemon in sight. So it could just be that it's really early in development and that's all they had to show.
Yes.
But I'm hoping that in the final one, because it's like still Sinnoh, just in the past,
Yes.
that there will at least be like the same towns from Diamond and Pearl, but just like back in the day when they were villages,
I see.
Multiple villages, maybe some trainers out there. Because like right now it seems like the game is just going to be a sandbox and you have to catch all 100 or 200 Pokemon or whatever. And that's it. That's the game. Which I feel like would not be a good game. Like, it might be fun for an hour, but it doesn't seem like there's enough substance there.
I hear you.
But I do feel that it's kind of like an alpha for what Gen 9 could be. Like, imagine an actual Pokemon game like how Sword and Shield was, but with those concepts where it's more open and everything's just like you can choose where you want to go, and like the Pokemon are actually interacting with each other, not like how they were in the wild area, I guess, where they just kind of popped up.
I see.
And I don't know. I guess there's just potential, and it kind of feels like they're testing the waters with this one to see if people like maybe they're waiting to see the reception, fan reception. Is that what it is? And maybe they'll try some of that stuff out. But again, like my main thing with that is I just don't think. I hope, at least, that was very early footage and there's going to be more to it. Because for an open world game to succeed, it's got to have, like, things to do. Open world's not just about exploring the world or getting lost in. It is about getting lost in the world, but the reason you get lost is because there's an objective, and usually you get sidetracked. And then you start exploring, and then you find another side objective type of thing. And with Pokemon, there's a lot you can do with that, obviously. There's, like, other than just catching the mons, there could be, like, items that you can get out there. There could be trainers, like, high-level trainers that you can battle,
Yes.
or, rarer Pokemon and, like, deep down in a cave that you have to, like...
Basically what we talked about in the last Pokemon podcast of our fun little original Pokemon game idea.
Yeah, basically.
They ripped us
So,
off, bro.
I hope that they're just, like, they're going to flesh it out more. And I mean, even one concept I came up with that could be cool for that style of game, since it's kind of like, I heard it's not feudal Japan per se, but it's like Japan,
It looks like an
based on
Edo
like
period
Japan
type thing.
Yeah.
Maybe a little
Yeah,
later than Edo. Because it doesn't
So
seem
there
that
could be
ancient.
I feel like there could be like a conflict with the different villages. Like maybe this is how gym leaders started, you know? They were like actually warring, and eventually they decided, oh, we can actually, we don't have to be at each other's throats. We can just decide who the best village is by Pokemon battles or whatever. So I think that could be a cool concept, which maybe I'm a little biased because I've been playing a lot of Pokemon Conquest, and it's literally that, like warring kingdoms in Japan, like. But I think it would be cool if, like, your village that you start out in is, like, the weakest one, and slowly you become a Poke God and, like, take over all the other ones and then establish, like, the Pokemon League and
In
such.
Pokemon Legends, you can become
A legend. You become Arceus, actually.
Ooh, that's...
The Poke God.
I don't know. That seems too Final Fantasy.
Oh, yeah, speaking, like, I kind of feel like the chibis, too, they remind me a little bit of how Final Fantasy VII, the overworld looked like the original, not the remake.
Yeah. So, like,
Which
shit.
is crazy, because, like, we're already on a Final Fantasy remake with insane graphics, and Pokemon is just now giving us the original Final Fantasy VII graphics.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if there's really anything
What
else
if
to
one
say.
day they actually pull, like, something like that and they make, like, hyper realistic Pokemon game, like, you know, like Monster Hunter style graphics?
I would like it, but
That would be epic.
I feel like it would be better if they got, like, Bandai Namco to do it instead of, like, because Game Freak is just, they're too slow at this point, dude. They started at basically the same pace as all these other RPG companies.
Yeah.
I think about Final Fantasy in '96. You know, it looked just like Pokemon. And now they look like, I don't know, Alita
Like
Battle
peoples.
Angel or
They
some
look
shit.
like peoples, like real peoples.
Yeah, they look like a CGI movie, like a modern day CGI.
They look
but
fuckable.
And that's what's crazy is the company making
When are they
the
gonna
remakes.
make Pokemon look fuckable? That's the question here. What is Game Freak afraid
Oh my
of?
god! Okay, wait. A slight tangent, but I saw a kind of meme post.
Yes, I know
It was
exactly
like-
what you're talking about.
Well, how like apparently there was a mistranslation where people back in the day would fuck Pokemon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's been making the rounds on Twitter.
I'm hoping that makes it into Legend Sinnoh.
Yeah. That'd be great. Well,
Yeah, okay, my final point was Ilka, the people making the remakes. I don't know if you saw my latest video, but
She
I talked
sounds
about
like a
how they
great gal.
worked on 2B is a great gal with some great thighs.
I was just saying
And-
Elka. Sounds like a girl name from, like, I don't know, Sweden.
Or a Final Fantasy character.
True. Wait, they made Nier Automata?
They helped with the CGI for it.
Oh, okay.
So it's like, I think they actually made models and assets. So they could have actually made the 2B model. It doesn't specifically say. But my point is, if they can make 3D that looks that good, but then they chose to go with the more faithful look for the remake, it's definitely, I don't know if it was them or Game Freak, you know? Like,
Yeah. They're gonna give Cynthia a fat ass.
but she's gonna be a fucking chibi.
Oh, hopefully when you get into battle, it's like she's a chibi, and then when you go in, she's just got, like, the fucking thickest cake on her, dude. It's like,
Yeah, no, in battle, the characters look normal, so we'll see.
fucking...
Although I'd like to imagine that everybody in the world is chibi, and then when you make it to Cynthia, yeah, she's just like a regular, like the Resident Evil tall lady, like she's just like a regular size woman.
Garchomp ain't gonna be the only one charmping.
All right, now I give you the floor. I will sit here and listen to the rantings of
Of a madman. I
of a Pokemon.
I don't even know where to begin, man. Here's... All right.
Okay, let's start how I started
I'm
then.
gonna
What do you think
hurt
of the
some feelings
graphics?
today. And I'm sorry, because that's not my intention. I don't like making people feel bad. And hopefully this isn't anything that makes anyone feel bad, because it's just my thoughts, my assertions. And again, I'm just a fucking
Look,
individual.
I think at this point, Pokemon fans should be used to it from, like, the rage that goes on Twitter.
Chat. That's not what I've seen from chat or from Twitter trending tabs. I don't think they could take anything. But here I go anyway. Listen, man. It all looks, at least from the Diamond and Pearl remakes, looks lazy as shit. I'm not gonna lie to you, alright? This isn't anything new to Pokemon. And you might say, they gave it off to a new company, maybe they don't know how to handle it. I don't know how people think the game industry works, but it doesn't work that way. This was just Nintendo cutting corners, alright? Because they know what people wanted. They know what people are asking for. Listen, I'm more than anyone, I could tell you, I know the Pokemon fan base can be very toxic and entitled and, shitty sometimes. But everyone knew what people were asking for when they were asking for Sinnoh remakes. Personally, I didn't care. I was tired of the remakes. I didn't care about the remakes. But if they were gonna do it anyway, like they did, I'm sure they, more than anyone, knew what people were asking for when they were asking for a Sinnoh remake. They were asking for the same treatment and love they gave to Fire Red and Leaf Green. They were asking for the same love that they gave to Mega Ruby and Crystal.
Heart Gold, Soul Silver, and then
the same
Omega
love
Ruby,
to
Alpha Sapphire.
Alpha Sapphire. That's what they wanted, and it feels bad. I'm not gonna say it feels scummy or shitty or whatever, even though I might think that, but it feels bad for the people. No one likes to feel like the group that got shafted, especially when so many other people before them got pretty much exactly what they wanted. No one likes to feel like the ones that got the short end of the stick. And this is what the people who their favorite one or their first one was Gen 4, and this is what they get. It doesn't feel great. I don't care, but I've been in that position before with franchises I've liked, and I can tell you firsthand, it don't feel good. It don't feel nice. And I feel like they have a right to be critical and upset. Toxic and vitriolic, no. But critical and upset, they have the right. I don't feel it's fair for people to just go like, just shut up. Be thankful that you got anything anyway after years of whining. I don't think that's a fair approach either. I think that they have the right to be critical and upset over this kind of move that they pulled. And this isn't me shitting on the developers, because most of the time the developers don't really have anything to do or any say or choice in the matter of what corporate wants them to push out. So don't see this as any kind of like, how do you say, I'm blanking on the word, but don't see this as any kind of me saying a call to arms to go shit on the developers or even on the corporate side of things, because, being toxic and vitriolic is never good. But it's not a bad thing to be like, hey, Nintendo, what's up with this? Why'd you do this? I don't feel like this is fair. That's fine. But sending like fucking threats and saying shitty things, don't do that. But because let's look at it this way, man. Every single remake has had some kind of update to its visual presentation. You go back to the original Red and Green, and then you put it side by side to the remakes, and it always takes what's modern and what's new currently in Pokemon and applies it to the remake. Because at the time Fire Red and Leaf Green came out, that's when Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald were out, specifically Emerald. So, in the remakes, they had the much nicer, more detailed sprites and even the overworld, and they had elements from the newer games. Same thing happened with the
Heart Gold, Soul Silver
ones. They were pretty much on the same level as Black and White, and they had elements from it. And then especially Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire that got a complete
that was a big upgrade,
they got the
dude.
Mega Evolutions, and they got a completely more updated story to go with it. Rayquaza got an even better story, giving them even more justice. Same thing with Deoxys, And then here's Diamond and Pearl. and literally all it is pretty much what you like. If I'm gonna get more specific with it, it's literally just taking 1-to-1 how it looked like 3D and just making it 2D, making it 3D, which in concept, in theory, sounds fine, but as we can see from how it looks in practice, didn't work out so well.
I think when compared to those other remakes, it does come off as very lazy.
And
when you could have done all that, but instead you chose to give us a remaster instead of like what we expected from a remake.
And even if you just look at it, dude, the whole how it's rendered, how stylistically the approach they took looks very scuffed and dirty and just half-assed. Because, you know, I might, depending on how lazy I am, I might put up like screenshots of comparisons of what I'm talking about. But if you look at even like Let's Go Eevee or what they were...
Oh, dude, Let's Go has it looks way more polished. Like the battle scene, the characters in the background, it actually like, yeah, I don't know what the heck it is about the new games, but
I'll tell you exactly.
To me, the
what
battle
it is,
scene
bro.
looks really shoddy.
Exactly what it is, because and even if you're saying, well, that's different, they went through like a completely different style. Let's look at one that people are doing a more 1-to-1 comparison with, Link's Awakening, that have very
well, and that's
style.
the thing though. Before you get to that, because the Link's Awakening thing is just in the overworld with the chibis, but in battle, I'm pretty sure they're using the exact same models from Let's Go. Like the picnicker, the camper trainer guy, you know, the little dude with the green hat.
Yeah,
he looks almost exactly the same as he did in Let's Go, but somehow worse. And I don't get it, man. I don't get it.
But I'm gonna show you like a side-by-side comparison after this. If you look at the overworld specifically, and you look at Link's Awakening, people are going to say, yeah, but they have a different rendering style. Link's Awakening looks a little bit more like it's made out of like either clay or like toys, right? That's not even what
they're
I'm
like
talking
toys.
About. Literally, just look at the lighting. Look at I'm going to see while I'm talking about this, if I find the examples, and I'll show you so you can like visualize it better. If you look at the way they apply lighting and shading in Link's Awakening versus what they were doing with these Pokemon games, you will see exactly what I'm talking about on why the current Diamond and Pearl remakes look so scuffed and flat and dead, like compared to Link's Awakening, where things have clear depth and clear like range and presence in relation to the character that you're playing. Check it out. I'm going to send it right now so you can see exactly what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Look at that shit.
Let's see this. Oh yeah. I mean, in my original reaction, that was like my first initial thing was like, why does everything look so like washed out and just not good? And it's partly because I was comparing it to this, because it's really hard not to compare the two when they have like the same. They're going for the same like.
They're going for
they're
the same
not toys
presentation
clearly,
of roads.
but
and people are going to say, "Oh, it's just the lighting in that scene is different." Well, then let's look at a different time of day, even midday. Like you can barely tell the shadows, especially like under dawn and everything. Like everything looks, and it creates this visual like reaction where everything looks like it's on the same plane and on the same space. And even though it's 3D, it still looks 2D. You know what I mean? Like, if you look at that picture of where he's on the ledge and he's running, it still looks like the old-ass 2D Diamond and Pearl game. But worse. Because nothing has an outline and nothing has a clear sense of depth when you're just looking at it. And it looks lazy. Everything about it looks very, like, they cut corners. They said, let's just put something else so they'll shut up about it. You know, and they won't say that we didn't do anything or that we at least didn't try. I almost would have they would have gotten less shit if they just said like, hey, no, we're stopping the remakes at Hoenn. Like, we're sorry, we get it, that might be disappointing, but we're in a creative space right now where we don't feel like we'd be able to do right by you or your expectations with the remakes, so we'd rather just not tackle that and just move on to creating a better and future experience rather than metaphorically spit in people's faces with this shit.
Dude, and I feel like that's just, I don't know what it is, if it's like a Pokemon thing or just like a Japanese game company thing, but I feel like they don't like to give updates like that. Like, they would never acknowledge the remakes until they're like, here it is.
They're not good at acknowledging
Like,
their failures.
and that's not a good thing, because like you said, I feel that it would have been better if they just, for this year, I don't know, just give us some spin-off games. Like, I think people can wait, although, I mean, I guess last year it was DLC, it wasn't an official game, so technically we're 2 years out. But, like,
2 years is not a long time in the grand scheme of things.
it's
still.
not. It's really not.
It really
Like,
isn't.
how long? There's already been a lot between Breath of the Wild and now Breath of the Wild 2 isn't even coming out until next year, I think.
Dude,
Same thing with Mario Odyssey. Like, when was the last Mario Odyssey? You know, we got Bowser's Fury, but that's like a little thing to hold us off. Like, Pokemon could do the same thing. Just keep doing mini DLCs for Sword and Shield, even if, like, I don't think people, like, if there was a third Sword and Shield DLC, I think if it was still fun, then people wouldn't be that upset, because I like the other two DLCs. Instead of, and then just hold off the remakes until they were ready to give us, like you said, the what people were expecting,
Exactly.
the love that it deserved.
I mean,
basically.
look at, to bring, not to fucking for the millionth time bring up Monster Hunter. Monster Hunter World came out in 2017, and now in 2021 is when we're getting Monster Hunter Rise. Yeah, Iceborne came out in between that, but that's just because of the tradition of just like, you know, how Monster Hunter works, where they you know, they release normal, then high rank, and then G rank afterwards. But whenever a new title comes out, they already have all that stuff planned out. So it's still
well, and that's
one
how
game.
Pokemon used to work
Exactly.
too. They used to do, you know, the X, the Y, and then the Z, but freaking that never happened.
Exactly.
And ever since then, it feels like it's been
Less complete of an experience. And, you know, but still, that's 4 years in between one title and the next one. And it still doesn't feel that long ago when Monster Hunter World came out. Because, you know, they were so good at supporting the game afterwards, and they crafted this really intuitive experience to where it took a really long time for anyone to get bored. Dude, I still go back and play World.
Yeah.
I still do it all
No,
the
yeah,
time.
the game. I think the game itself was just such a big upgrade from the previous, like, entries that it still feels good to play. It's literally like Breath of the Wild or Odyssey. Like, I know you don't like Mario, but compared to, like, even Galaxy, which was already a modern experience, like, Odyssey's just leaps and bounds more fun.
Yeah.
Because of the way you can control the character and the way that it looks and the feet, like, everything about it, basically.
Yep.
But that's not, you know, it's not the same with Pokemon, clearly.
Yeah.
Even though Sword and Shield, it was an upgrade, but not the
It
upgrade
wasn't
that I
big
think
in
people were
comparison
expecting.
to, like,
Yeah.
fucking Let's Go Eevee and that shit. It really wasn't. I practically look at them and they look like the same game to me. Not even gonna.
Well, I
lie
would
to you.
compare more like Sun and Moon to Sword and Shield. And if you really compare those two, like when you play Sun and Moon on an emulator, it pretty much looks as good as Sword and Shield.
And
which
content
is
wise,
crazy
it's
to me.
not that. For me, I always said like Sword and Shield just felt like a sidestep to Sun and Moon, because the only new thing that really came with Sword and Shield was, you know, Gigantamax, which just was a different way of doing Mega Evolutions. So it didn't even feel like a new thing to me. So I always saw Sword and Shield as just like, this feels like the third game that Sun and Moon didn't get, you know. But it's whatever. That's just me. I'm not that avid of a Pokemon fan, so it's not like people have to take what I'm saying that seriously either. But when it,
I mean, honestly, I don't feel like the things you said though, the way that you set up your argument and everything too, it wasn't even an argument, to be honest. It was just a criticism. It was the fair criticism that Pokemon deserves. And like you said, it's just that a lot of people, specifically on Twitter, they are not like that at all. Like, they are just straight up like, you know.
yeah, you know,
you know how Twitter be.
Yeah, you know. But it's just like, you know, it especially like grinded my gears when I heard them say, this is gonna be, we did what we needed to do and we made a faithful adaptation to Diamond and Pearl. I said, don't fucking use
dude,
that word.
fuck that.
Don't use that
Nah.
word, because we know what you're saying when you say that. We know that you were saying like, we didn't want to really put that much time into this bitch. You know.
To me, it almost even sounds like
Sounded sarcastic.
they didn't want to take the potential criticism of making it like Sword and Shield, because already those games were like,
yeah. I don't know. Dude.
Yeah, those games were already so heavily criticized. They're like, if we make it in that style, people are just gonna hate it. So let's. But then I don't know how long this has already been in development either. It doesn't seem like that long.
It really doesn't seem like that long, dude. It really doesn't.
There's theories out there of people saying that they were gonna do Diamond and Pearl remakes. They were working, like they're saying that Pokemon Legends was gonna be the Diamond and Pearl remakes, and they like made this big open map of Sinnoh. And then when they saw the criticisms of Sword and Shield, they scrapped it and gave it to that other company and said, just make it a 1-to-1
Funny enough,
remaster.
I was going to bring that point up. But I'll elaborate that when I get to Legends, which I probably should. I already pretty much said what I needed to say about the Diamond
I'm not
Pearl
going
ones.
to... Go ahead, because I'm breaking into your rant now. So.
Dude, I don't mind. Like, really. This makes
so
me
that's
seem
Diamond
like
and Pearl
less
remakes.
of a, like a fucking, like, hater, I guess.
Okay, actually, one last thing about Diamond and Pearl remakes then, before we move on. I feel like
even the logos
outlines wouldn't... outlines don't even fix it.
Nope.
I feel like the outlines actually even make it look uglier. But that's just my opinion.
Yeah. Just the decision to make it a 1-to-1 rendition and just making it 3D was the wrong approach, in my opinion. It was just the wrong approach. And just to add a little bit thing I said a little earlier, even the logos are shit. I hate how they look.
Dude, the names! I hate the name Brilliant. I don't know why. I don't mind Shining Pearl as much, but Brilliant Diamond, like I always forget, or like
It's not good.
I get it. Like, I think brilliant is a term that they actually use for real-life diamonds to describe them and shit, but I don't...
I mean, why didn't they just go, like, shining and sparkling to make it like SNS, you know? Or something like that.
Yeah.
You know? But
or even something to do with, like, time and space or whatever. But then again, I guess that would have made more sense if they actually made real remakes.
Yeah.
Like, if they had been, like, Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire type remakes, they probably would have gone with a better name, like
Eternal Diamond and Immortal Pearl or something
Temporal
like that. Temporal
or something, yeah.
But... I don't know. Even the logos are shit. Like, the actual just design of the logos are fucking terrible. I don't like it.
They're actually the exact same font and style and everything as the originals. They just added the
weird
like
bordering.
the border thing.
Ugly.
I think for Pearl especially, because it's like curved, and I get it because pearls, you know, diamonds are more jagged. Pearls are more. It looks ugly.
It don't look good. Don't look good. But
every time I have to make a thumbnail, I'm just like, I don't want to look at these logos, man.
Yeah. But oh well, such is life. Now, getting into Legends. Oh boy.
Okay.
Oh boy.
Okay, here we go.
I have more to say about this one.
No way.
Oh yeah. Oh, surprisingly.
Well, and I think the thing too is this one is honestly, I feel like even more. The criticism's more valid because, well, maybe not more valid. I don't know what the word is, but the point is, it's made by Game Freak. Like, this is actually Game Freak.
Yeah.
You know, you could always say that Ilka is inexperienced. They like that already is a bad move to, or not a bad. It's a questionable move to begin with to hand such a big project, something that people wanted for so long, to like a new company. But like this one's actually Game Freak.
Yeah.
These are the guys that have been doing it the whole time. So, I don't know. Go ahead.
I think it is embarrassing. I think Game Freak should be embarrassed. Why do I think they should be embarrassed? Considering...
can I take a guess?
Go ahead. I want to see what you think.
Is it because, you know, all the shit going on with the fans already... And then they basically just copy Breath of the Wild in the
That's
end.
definitely part of it. That is definitely part of it.
After all the shit they gave us, and then they just...
How shameless that is. But it's definitely more of a thing considering who they are, who Game Freak are, their track record, their pull, their influence, and their resources. And this is what they do with it. Like, bro, it has been a while since I have seen something so lifeless. And I don't want to use the word uninspired because for if we're just talking about Pokemon, I guess it is a pretty big leap. But in gaming as a general, so uninspired. Where I looked at that trailer and I was just like, there's no life in this. There's nothing about this that... Usually when you look at Pokemon, you look at it and you go like, this is Pokemon because it has character and it has, this vibrancy and this excitedness and this kind of like childlike wonder to it. When I looked at the trailer of Legends, it looked dead. It looked like if a robot made it. Like
oh
if someone
my god, it's the corpse of Pokemon is literally being dragged on the screen, dude. Come on.
It's like, and they gave Pokemon to an AI algorithm that then they told it to make a game. It, like, you already said it in your points, it looks empty. Like there was nothing in there. The NPCs were pretty much just statues there. The Pokemons were few and far between, and none of them were...
Dude, there's literally not a single NPC. That's worrying. Like, I really hope that's not the final game. Because there is not a single... Aside from the main characters, there wasn't a single other human in the game. Like, in the trailer.
And even the Pokemon were so sparse, and none of them were interacting with each other. Like...
Nope.
I think one of the things we mentioned in our funny little Pokemon idea in our old movies, it would be interesting where they adopted kind of like this formula, like what Monster Hunter did, where Pokemons would have turf wars, or there were Pokemons that were natural enemies to each other that you could run into them having a spat, and then whoever came out the winner would become like the alpha or the apex of the region, or you could even take advantage that they're more weakened and it'll be easier for you to fight and capture them.
Dude, actually, when you describe it like that too, it might sound complicated, but it really isn't. Like, you could do something as basic as just give them personality types, like how they have natures,
Yeah, we mentioned that in our video of how, different Pokemons have different personality types based on how they behave in the wild. And, those...
You could even do it species-wide. Like, you don't even have to make it that crazy. Like, for example, in the trailers, we saw Shinx and Bidoof, right? Like, if a horde of Shinx ran into a horde of Bidoofs, they could, chase them out of the area. Yeah. It's as simple as that, Like, it doesn't have to be that crazy.
And it would make shiny hunting a lot more interesting. Because, it feel alive. That's the thing with it. That's what I feel that Pokemon has been missing, especially if they're going to take this approach of making it open world and more interactive. It needs to stop being this formulaic little RPG game, or at least how it used to be in the old games, and make it feel more alive. Because these are supposed to be animals. These are supposed to be creatures. We're no longer stuck in the old era where hardware limitations were such a big concern. There's so much you can do. There's so many examples out there. Look at the game you're ripping off, Breath of the Wild. Even that has more life in it than what they showed off in this trailer. And again, I'm trying to keep myself a little bit more restrained because it's only the first trailer. And the game's still in development, so I don't know what they're going to add and to change. But looking at Game Freak's track record with Pokemon games, I don't have a lot of hope for it. Because they've been very notorious of cutting corners recently. And just doing as little as possible with making as much money as they possibly can. So I don't have a lot of hope for it. But looking at it, it really does just look uninspired and just dead and
lifeless is the best word.
It doesn't look like anything that you look at it and you go like, wow, my childlike wonder is resurfacing. No, I look at that and I said...
if there was a... What's the word? Like a honest review, like a big game company did an honest review. You know how they usually have those blurbs in the back of the box?
Yes.
I think it would put, quote, uninspired, comma, lifeless.
Yeah,
0 out of 10.
Yeah.
That's for the trailer at least,
Exactly.
all right? Like, the final game could be improved,
And
but...
even then, dude, even when you look at the battle scenarios, when you're fighting, you mentioned it in one of your videos where it does look like real time, like the trees are swaying and you can see the mountains in the background, but there's no Pokemons around.
No.
And there's nothing else. It's just, it feels like you in an empty environment with just these two other things in the screen.
Dude, and that's the other thing that I don't get. Why does the FPS look so bad when there's literally only 3 entities on screen?
It's on a fucking Switch.
But like the Switch runs games fine when it's docked. Like at least docked, you know?
Yes.
It looks like it's running like portable mode.
And dude, and even just like I can't even say that's an excuse because look at Rise. Look at Rise. You look at any gameplay with Rise, with people actually playing in the environments, and the monsters are still interacting with each other. And there's turf wars, and there's other like endemic life that you could interact with, and has
Dude, yeah, they even recently ported that Immortals, the Assassin's Creed
Phoenix
company
Rising.
game. Yeah, and it doesn't run great. Like, let's be honest, but like. Usually third-party games don't run as good on Nintendo as first-party games like Breath of the Wild, but it still is able to handle having all those characters on screen and everything.
Yeah.
Whereas this, like, literally, there's that one scene with the Chimchar where it's just Chimchar and the trainer, and the Chimchar is like, you can count the frames as he's swaying.
So rough, dude. And like...
I don't know. Maybe it's because the whole world is loaded in, but like other games can handle that too. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know what to think of that, honestly.
It's sad, bro. I saw it, and while you were streaming it, dude, I was just like, I feel bad for this dude. Like this, it's like watching. It's like how I felt when Halo was having its things. It's like this thing you really love, and like you just don't. You don't understand why they're doing the things they're doing and why it's going so wrong. And like, and this is what I wanted to say when it's just like, I don't feel like Pokemon is dying, but it definitely doesn't hold the prestige it used to.
Yeah.
It's not as...
I wonder if like what would it take? Because if it really is all the old heads buying the games and blowing up the sales numbers, is this what it takes? Both Diamond and Pearl remakes being, basically the same game, and not what anybody wanted, basically. And then Legends, if it releases in its current state and it's just boring and like lifeless, would people then like just be like? I feel like people wouldn't buy them, honestly. Like, because even compared to Sword and Shield, I can still see why even the people that criticized them still got them. Because they wanted to give it a chance, at least. There was like new features like the wild area to at least try out, and something you want to experience. With Diamond and Pearl remakes, there's none of that. So like, if you don't like the chibi, if you don't like you're still just going to play Platinum.
Yeah.
And then with Legends, depending on, like I said, if they update it, I've already seen a lot of people that think exactly what you said. Like, it's uninspired and it just looks really empty. So if if they don't update it at all, if they don't really like fill the world and make it interesting, I could see a lot of people like skipping out on it.
Yeah, and even then, dude, I'm gonna be honest with you. You were mentioning that it's a little exciting that in the battles now the Pokemon kind of just like, oh, now they actually run up to each other and attack each other, and I'm not gonna lie to you, dude. When I saw that tweet, I'm just like, yeah, and like it didn't feel like that big of a thing, like it feels big for Pokemon, but it's kind of just like at the end of the day the battles still look the same. It's just like, oh, now they run up to each other. Pause. Like, it was kind of like and this is gonna run into the point that
listen, we're a very impressionable bunch.
This is gonna be the hottest take so far
of the oh my god! Can we get the air horn?
Of all of my Pokemon opinions, this is gonna be
hot
the
take
one
incoming.
I feel like not even you are gonna in any way agree with.
Okay.
And let me set this up. Look at games like God of War, right? Look at games like, let me see, what's another good example? Like the Batman Arkham games, right? You look at games like, I don't know. I'm primarily going to use God of War because it's the only one I could remember off the top of my head. These were games that, when they originally came out, they were big. Hell, the Resident Evil is another great example. Mm-hmm. These were games that, they're icons of gaming. When they came out originally, these were big. For whatever genre they were, whatever. And as time went by, they started becoming stale because they would either not change up the formula enough, and it started getting tiresome because it started feeling like the same game syndrome, or they would instead try to follow the trends. This is more towards like Resident Evil, what happened with Resident Evil 6, of what gaming was in that time, and they would lose their sense of identity and sense of self. Yeah. And these were games that people were thinking are at risk of just like, they're going to die, they're never going to come back again, and that'll be it. Then God of War came out. Then Resident Evil 7 came out. And then even after that, Resident Evil 2 Remake came out.
God damn, dude. I mean, while you were framing that, I pictured Resident Evil 7 in my head. I'm like, they really did bring it back. Like, that's crazy. Because for a while, there was all those like Revelation games, too. They were all really samey and not fun, you know?
What?
And then God of War, I didn't really play as much, but no, that blew my fucking mind when the
example of like, ooh, you know, right? What do all of those have in common, and might make you think why they made such big of a comeback?
Like the new remakes, you mean? What do they like? That they
like the new God of War and then Resident Evil 7, you know.
I mean, aside from the characters and like the setting, they completely changed everything pretty much, right?
There you go. Why they were big? Because they're different in their own ways, because I'm going to say right now, Resident Evil 7, when it came back, it changed it in a way where like, whoa, it's first person and it's less like, you know, corny and cheesy, but it still retains,
it felt like it went back to that survival horror.
That survival horror. It went back to the heart of what Resident Evil is, and it's that sense of dread and helplessness, because like at this point all the characters we knew and loved were already experienced in this, you know. They've already fought their zombies. They already had their moment of just like fish out of water. You know what I mean? And I know a lot of people have certain feelings with Ethan. I have met other people who are just like, oh no, I wanted to see more Jill and Chris. I love Ethan. Why do I love Ethan? Other than him just being a very, you know, good character, just a decent character. He's not spectacular, but he's a good character for the role that he fills. It was because it was the first time in a long time we had a character that was completely out of his element. He's not a cop. He wasn't a soldier. He wasn't a mercenary. He was just some guy looking for his fucking wife. Didn't even know how to shoot a gun. And he was put in this horrifying scenario. That what Resident Evil was about. That sense of helplessness and dread and disorientation in an environment that you're completely unprepared for and unaccustomed to. And that's why Resident Evil 7 was successful. Going to God of War, it was successful because people liked God of War because they were very fun games, especially in the combat, right? And God of War had that. But another side of why people love God of War is because they loved Kratos. You know, they loved that story of this guy who was slighted by powers that seemed so impossibly above him, but he wasn't going to let that fucking shit go. And he was going to fucking literally tear down the sky to, you know, get the
Bring down Olympus.
Yes, retribution he deserved. And then that ended the story. But people always felt like, you know, they wanted more from Kratos, but obviously they couldn't continue the story from where it left off. So they made the choice of looking at Kratos from a different perspective in a natural sense of growth. The only, you know, if God of War, the new God of War game, was put in the scenario where here Kratos back again and he's more pissed than he was before, I don't feel like people would have liked it as much as this natural progression of Kratos' story where he already got what he wanted and he sacrificed so much. What's the next step for a character if he actually makes it out of alive of this situation? You know,
try to live a normal life.
Lead a normal life, right? And it's the life of a father who has no idea how to be a father, because the only other time he was a father, he ended up murdering his wife and child.
They gave Kratos the ultimate weapon, relatability.
Exactly. You know, they gave him this character progression, something that was completely outside the realm of thought. They took a chance.
And it actually, I think it even ties to like the fans of those games that
grew up.
maybe when they played the originals, they grew up, and now a lot of them probably do have kids themselves, and they fucking love it.
You need to watch the Making God of War documentary, the Cory Barlog documentary. It's on YouTube, free. It is fantastic. You need to see it. Like, if I could obligate you, I would. It's on YouTube. You can watch it. It's great.
I mean, we can watch it like when you come through.
Sure. It's great because it shows even that thing that you mentioned. Corey has been with God of War since the start. And you see him, like when he started, he was just some guy who wanted to play on these video games, make these epic video games. And he made God of War, the new one, after he became a dad. And he wanted to tell this story, that story of being a father and not knowing how to be a father and all of the different challenges that comes with that, and it made this...
It's like such a contrast, too, with the character of Kratos.
Exactly.
It's like...
And it was But that just drives my point that these franchises that were kind of losing their gas reinvigorated themselves because they took a chance and they took a risk and they took an approach to it that ultimately kept the heart of the series but gave it a new approach. And I feel that's what Pokemon needs. And
that's what Legends could have been.
Because here's the big risk that I think they need to take. And I might lose you here. Whether they do it as either as a spin-off or take the big risk of making it mainline.
I think I know where you're going with it, and I think I'm going to agree, but go ahead.
They need to get rid of turn-based combat.
Yes. Okay. Because Legends is a spin-off, I completely agree. I feel that the core series, that's what makes it the series. So, like, and they're not quitting it. Like, they're still going to do a Gen 9 eventually. But, man, I honestly, like, as much as, like you said, I was hyping up, like, the fact that the Pokemon move a little bit more or whatever. Like, that's just me trying to be happy, because... I hate the word chill, but like, when my career basically depends on just not the games being good necessarily, but making content out of them. So I find any way to
find some kind of positive
talk
outlet.
about it. Yeah. But I would have been so much more fucking hyped if they made it an action RPG. Like they said it is, because in the fucking trailer they say in the presents, this is a new action RPG. Yep. And it's like, where's the action?
I'm gonna be honest with you, dude. When I saw the character rolling and maneuvering, I was just like, oh shit. Are they gonna do it?
I got excited.
Are they gonna do it? And then they showed the combat and no. It's the same. And I was just like, so you're half-assing it yet again. So, for me, it was kind of like, bro, even Final Fantasy fucking did it. What are you waiting for?
I know, man. I know. It's crazy. I have so many ideas, too, for, how they could make it work. Like, you can still have the same... Again, it applies to, the natures thing, but now with the moves, you can still have it so the Pokemon just know 4 moves. Yeah. So it would even still be compatible with other games.
You move around however you like.
But yeah, you move around, and depending on which attack you use, it's a different... animation and everything. Yeah, it could totally work.
I mean, look at I keep coming back to Monster Hunter, but I do it because it's kind of in the same vein. It's like these creatures and whatever in nature. That's why I keep coming back to it. Especially now with Rise, where you could do where you're riding the monsters and you could actually use their attacks. That's even a more example where it's just dude, how much more Pokemon can it get if you actually treat these creatures like living, breathing creatures in an ecosystem, and how cool it would be for that to be properly representative real time instead of them feeling like little... They're just standing there waiting to see what you do. Instead of it being reactionary, make it proactive, make them feel alive.
Why you hurt me? You're hurting me.
I'm sorry,
Stop.
dude, but it needs to be done. That's how I show my love. Sometimes the truth hurts, dude.
It does hurt, man. Oh no. Where's Tajiri? Where's fucking Satoshi Tajiri? The original creator of Pokemon. Because if you've ever heard or read his story, that's what this man envisioned. You know, back when he made those little sprite, it was because of technical limitations. Exactly. But, like, in his imagination, I'm sure this dude saw a living, breathing world, like our real world. Because his whole thing was he would use the little gotcha balls, you know, the little quarter machine things, and he would put bugs in them.
That's kind of creepy.
So it's like, it is a little weird. I feel like bug catching is more common in Japan, so maybe it's a cultural thing. But anyway, the point is that, like, he based it off our real world where these creatures, like, he would examine them, like how the bugs and, like, frogs, and for example, would interact with flies. And, like, that's what the inspiration for Pokemon came from, for, like, type advantages and, like, types in general and all of that. I feel like little Tajiri back in the day, before he was running a multi-million-dollar company, would have imagined that that's what the game would have progressed to eventually. But it hasn't.
But it would be, and it would be so much better, dude, because I've also had an argument against where they're just saying, oh, well, Pokemon's more about friendship and all this stuff. And I'm just like, listen, man, just because an animal's alive doesn't mean that you can't be fucking friends with it. I feel like it would be even more strong of a bond taking this wild creature and eventually creating this, like, very active sense of, like, companionship to the point. The more real the thing feels, the more real your sense of attachment is going to be to it. You know, if this thing is an actual animal that you found in the wild and you, like, you fought and you tamed and you had this interaction with, and the more you fight with it and have interactions with it, the more your bond grows, and the more you see the actual physical behavior of the Pokemon acclimate towards you, the more it feels like you're crafting this bond, rather than in the now games where once it's in your Pokeball, that's it, it's your buddy.
Yeah. Dude, I would even say it's not even about the, like, friendship. That's more like the modern games have kind of made that. They've made it feel like it's about that, but I don't think that's what it was ever about. It was just about the fucking creatures themselves.
The show was more about it than the game.
Yeah, the show for sure.
You know?
Yeah, with Ash and his companions and whatnot. And then the games kind of took that turn, starting with, like, maybe Black and White, but I feel like the rivals in that game were still more, like, fierce. Like, they weren't just like, let's all hold hands and beat the Pokemon League together, guys. That started with X and Y.
Kids are the most competitive people in the fucking world. They wouldn't be fucking like that.
And that's why they don't play Pokemon anymore.
Dude. And it's just like,
it's too baby even for them.
And people are just like, but if you take out the turn-based combat, it'll ruin the competitive scene. Who gives a fuck? I'm gonna be
this is Legends, dude. This is Legends. Again, like, you'll still have your competitive shit in the debate, like the core games is what they call them.
So, like, let's do hypothetical. Even if they took out the turn-based in the main line. Just a hypothetical. Don't kill me.
Okay.
You still have the old games to be competitive with. I mean, look at people. People are still playing fucking Melee.
No, I was about to say, I think if they did that in the main series, I think people would just, like, they would only play Pokemon Showdown at that point, which is, like, the online battle simulator.
You know, and that's just the competitive people. Can we be honest? The majority of the people who play Pokemon don't give a shit about the competitive field.
Yeah, no, they, like... There is a big group, but they're definitely a minority.
They're not the majority anyways. And I feel like even if they did that, I feel like even those people would still be like, well, whatever, we still have the fucking old games. As a matter of fact, we feel like the old games are better, so good for us, you know? And because people still play fucking Smash Melee, dude. Yeah. And they still think it's better than, like, what the Wii one and, you know, Brawl, and then the Wii U one, and then now the Switch one. You know? So, like, for me, that doesn't even factor in anymore, dude. And, you know, they could still find a creative way to still make it competitively viable if they wanted to, but I feel like Pokemon needs to take that step, man.
No, yeah. I just feel like Legends was the perfect opportunity to do it, because it's a spin-off, because no one would be mad if they got rid of the turn-based in a spin-off. Like, they've already done it in other ones, like Ranger, you know?
I love Ranger.
So, it was the perfect opportunity to do it. And instead, they're just sticking with what they know and just copying Breath of the Wild. So,
yeah. Because, bro,
I don't know. I think that definitely says something about the company. How
sick would it be if you got to, like, you know, after you throw out the Pokemon with the Pokeball, you just got to control it. to move it however you wanted. And then, like, you know, like in those scenarios where you had to use fly to travel somewhere, you could either choose to, like, fly there manually or take a fast travel option. Where you could put, like, oh, Charizard, use fly, and then a little prompt comes out. Would you like to fly manually or would you like to fast travel? Imagine how just freeing and liberating it would be. You could just hop on your Charizard and then just take the long route. The scenic route.
Imagine actually controlling your Pokemon.
You know, it would be fucking sick. Just taking the scenic route.
Dude, there's actually a fan game I played like years ago where they did that, and it was actually so fun. Even though they didn't have the best graphics, like it ran okay, but like it was really fun. It was that you threw out your Pokemon, and like as soon as you threw it out, you controlled the Pokemon, not your character.
And then,
like at that point, it's like it becomes like a Pokemon battle. You know, your guy is just sitting there giving commands.
And then imagine how much more impactful fighting legendary Pokemons would be in that scenario.
Oh,
they could
my
actually
God,
affect the environment and
man.
shit, and it would be this spectacle, dude.
That'd be insane.
And then you actually using them, and it would be fucking fantastic.
Dude, and the game is Legends Arceus. Like, you're literally going to be fighting God at the end of it. That'd be so insane if it was like Monster Hunter when you're fighting... I forgot what the final boss we fought was. With not Fatalis, the regular base game, like the Crystal Light Dragon thing.
Xeno'jiiva?
I don't fucking remember. Yeah. That was like... Okay, I never fought the Fatalis because it's like... Not DLC, but expansion stuff. But like even that base boss, it felt really like a big step up from any of the other monsters.
Yeah. Even Fatalis, bro. Even if you're gonna look at Fatalis compared to Fatalis in the original game versus Fatalis now, fucking Fatalis now is a spectacle. It is a sight to behold. Like, it is, you know, and it's that because they have this passion because ultimately the developers themselves said this is what we've wanted Monster Hunter to always be. You know, there are that vocal minority of fans who are just like, we preferred the older ones because more limiting and it made us feel fucking epic, even though no one gives a shit how good you are at Monster Hunter. You know, at the end of the day, the vision of the developers,
it's like you said,
was to make...
If they want to play the old one, they can still play it.
The old one, yeah. And like, you know, the visions of the developers was like, we want to make Monster Hunter this place where, the game is about the challenge and overcoming these challenges with monsters and the combat, blah. But these are living, breathing animals that are in an ecosystem, and we want to make it feel that way as best as we possibly can. And that's what World was. And, bro, there's a lot of people out there, or a very loud vocal minority, who don't like World. They think it's too easy because it's so interactive and like more like quality of life and like, you know, you're more mobile, but so are the monsters. You know, there's like this camp that says like, oh, you're too mobile, so now it's easy. And then there's another camp that the monsters are too mobile, so it's a little bit unfair. I'm like, there's no pleasing you. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter because you're such a small group, and you're the only ones who are gonna have to come to terms with the fact that the world is changing, and if you stay behind, you're ultimately gonna suffer more for it. But I feel like that's what it's about, dude. Looking at the natural progression of what things are, and I feel like that's why certain franchises end up dying off because they want to play it safe. They don't want to take those risks, and they don't prioritize what is the logical next step.
Get with the times, old man.
What does this thing naturally turn into? You know, and that's what Pokemon needs to do. They need to look at it and they said, what is the natural next step for Pokemon? And take that step.
You could say Pokemon hasn't evolved.